you'd like to come to a comfortable seat, wherever that is, whether you're up or down or in or out, just come to a comfortable seat. Sthiram Sukham Asana. Shins can be crossed, you can be kneeling, whatever you prefer, just to tune in. Okay, so tonight what I'd like us to do is really focus on acceptance, ease in the body, meeting ourselves where we are, and this idea of melt. So melting into the earth, the winds, into the very universe, just as creation intended. So without fighting or forcing or pushing, just melt. Okay, so in our stretch class this evening, we're going to just melt with ease into our postures and keep it nice and smooth, nice and gentle, nice and easeful. So those are my intentions for this practice. Feel free to add some of your own as we come to a steady breath and close the eyes, nice and stable through the pelvis, shoulders nice and soft. Becoming part of the wind, the earth, part of everything as creation intends. Longer, deeper breaths now. Start to smooth those inhales and exhales. And then let's bring those palms to press in front of the heart in Anjali Mudra of reverence, a gesture of reverence for this evening, this wonderful occasion that we are together. And then from here we're going to come into our hot yoga inspired breath work or pranayam from last week's class. So perhaps those of you who were with me last week will remember that we're going to start with a nice straight spine, lengthening the crown of the head up towards the sky as if being drawn up nice and tall by a golden thread through the crown of the head, drawing up. And then from here we're going to interlace those fingertips, palms facing down, and bring the knuckles, or that space between the knuckles, just below the chin. Draw the shoulders away from the ears. Press those elbows out towards the side, pull the tummy in, and then we're going to take a nice inhale. And one of the reasons that we keep our arms in this position is that we're creating the maximum amount of space for the chest, the belly to expand and lift and open. So try and imagine, if you will, the side waist expanding, the chest lifting and expanding, that heart, the collarbones expanding on the in-breath. So with me, empty out all of the breath from the belly, the chest, the lungs. Then sit nice and tall and draw a nice long inhale, opening up and expanding through the heart. Inhale deeply. Feel that rib cage press open towards the side of the room, space between the ribs. And then from here we're going to exhale, bring those elbows together, palms to press, and look up towards the sky, pressing just behind that chin, gently supporting that head on the knuckles there. And then inhale, open and lengthen and expand. Exhale through the nose or mouth, lifting up. Inhale, drawing, lifting and opening. Sitting nice and tall. And then exhale. Elbows come in. Last two times. Inhale, lift and lengthen. Elbows to parallel with the floor, rib cage expands. Exhale, press out. Elbows together. Empty that last drop of breath, last time. Inhale, lift and lengthen. Exhale. Draw those shoulders down, elbows together. And then inhale, come to a neutral spine. Brilliant. So just to bring a little bit of heat into the body, get that oxygen flowing, enlivening those cells, and then we get to come down onto our back. So a little bit of back work before we start to bring it up, but a nice, gentle, easeful stretch practice this evening, with only a little bit of heat thrown in the middle, okay? So reaching for your strap or your strap substitute, we're going to come onto the floor, onto our back, so shuffling down, making sure you've got enough space either side of you, because we're going to bring those legs out towards the side of the room in a short while from here. So rolling down the length of the spine, untucking that flesh from the sit bone, bring those knees to parallel. And then from here, we're going to come into a modification of Padangusthasana, which is hand to foot pose using our strap, okay? So from here, we're going to draw that right knee in towards the belly, thigh towards chest, wrap our strap or scarf or whatever we have to hand around the ball of the foot, and we're going to simply press through the ball of the foot. If you don't have a strap, that's fine. You can reach for the backs of the legs, interlace the fingers, reach for the calves, the trousers, whatever you have to hand. Otherwise, draw those shoulders away from the ears, supporting that foot with the strap. So pressing through the ball of the foot as you almost draw that strap in so that you're getting into the hip as well. So we're going to get into the hips, we're going to get into the shoulders tonight, the hamstrings, the side waist, the whole body is going to be stretched out this evening. So keep those right toes drawn back, and then from here, where that left knee is bent, we're going to extend through that left foot, toes drawn open, again pressing through that back of the thigh, back through the hamstrings, the calves, into the floor here, pressing through that heel. So we're getting a little bit of a stretch across that front hip flexor also. Draw that tummy in towards the spine and press that right heel towards the sky. Now the knee can be softly bent here to protect that knee if it is sore, and you can stay here for the whole length of the stretch. Otherwise, start to press through the heel and lengthen through that leg until it's almost completely straight if you can, keeping those toes drawn back. We're going to breathe into the calf muscles, into the hamstrings. Remember, we're going to come easily and melt into this stretch. So no resistance, no struggle, complete acceptance, being with the body, being with any and all sensations without judging. As we stretch those hamstrings and keep pressing through the back of that right calf. So we're pressing through the back of that knee. And then from here, we're going to bring that strap into the right hand and keeping our back as in contact with the floor as we possibly can. We're going to softly start to lower that foot out towards the right side of the room. And as you start to feel those muscles of the belly start to lift, draw those muscles in towards the spine and keep pressing through that left heel, and maybe bring that left palm to that left hip point as you shrug those shoulders away from the ears and open that right foot out towards the right side of the room. Then if you're supporting that foot with a strap, just allow the weight of the leg to open that hip out towards the side of the room. And then we're going to look over our left shoulder. Relax the shoulders, relax the back. Just allow weight and gravity to do its work through the hamstrings, the calves, softening through that right hip. There shouldn't really be any holding on in that right hip there. Just opening softly, gently lowering that right foot towards the right side of the room. Take a deep inhale here. And then exhale, draw that right foot back through center, and you can keep that leg extended or put a bend in the knee, whichever feels comfortable. Use those belly muscles though to draw that foot back through center. And then from here, we're going to switch that strap into the left hand, or just simply reach for the outside of that right thigh with the left palm if you do not have a strap to hand. So we're going to bring that right foot across the body, so almost crossing at the thighs there. Start to lower that right heel across the room, press through that heel. Now it doesn't mean that the foot has to come all the way to the floor, it doesn't have to. If that feels comfortable though, you can do that, and the hip will come naturally off the floor, that's perfectly fine. And then we're going to open that upper body over towards the right side of the room, looking over the right shoulder as we twist towards the left hand side. Press through that left heel, keep drawing those right toes back, and you'll feel this deeply in the outside of that right, in the glute muscles, deep in the right hip. You'll feel it across the hamstrings, you'll feel it in the IT band from the back of the low back, all the way down towards the right ankle as you lower that right foot towards the floor. Keep holding here, drawing that tummy in towards center. Breathing deeply into that stretch. Remember, you can keep a bend in that right knee if that's a little easier on the hips. Doesn't have to come all the way out. And then exhale, using those tummy muscles, and maybe put a bend in that right knee to draw that right foot back through center. Tiny bit of core work here, bringing the strap into both hands. Otherwise, reach for the back of that right foot, leg, thigh, wherever you can reach. Then we're just going to lift and lengthen the head and the chest towards that foot as you draw the tummy in gently. Again, it doesn't need to be really effortful, just a gentle lift here. And then exhale, softly release that right foot alongside left foot. Just soften through the toes a moment, just enjoy that extra length in that right side. Okay, just for a moment, just enjoying that sensation of lopsidedness, of length, of stretch. Maybe you feel a little bit taller on that side. The legs will certainly feel a little bit uneven, and we're about to even that up. Remember, yogis go both ways. You know this well enough by now. So then as we're ready, same thing, other side Padangusthasana with the strap, same modification here. Put a bend in that right knee, walk that right heel in towards the body. Walk the left heel in also. Then as you're ready, gently kick that left foot up. Press the ball of the foot through the strap or reach for the thighs with the fingertips interlaced. Try that one on for size with the right knee bent to begin with as you start to press through that left heel. Remember, it's perfectly fine to keep that knee bent if you'd like to. Otherwise, if this feels more than comfortable, start to lengthen through that right heel also, keeping those right toes drawn back. And then maybe you can bring that right hand just to the right hip point, just press it down as you press through that left heel, and then slowly bring that right hand back up to support that strap evenly on both sides. Keep those shoulders soft away from the ears. We don't want any effort in the neck here, just resting through the back of the head, stretching through the calves, the hamstrings, and allowing those hips to soften towards the floor. And again, remember that sort of counterweight here, so pressing through the ball of the foot as you draw a little length into that left hip as well. So we're also gaining some flexibility in that hip joint. Don't pull too hard though, we don't want to hurt the hip joint at all. It's just a little bit of a counterweight which increases our elasticity and our flexibility and mobility in that hip there. So gently draw that ball of the foot towards you, but keeping the leg extended. Extra breath here as we breathe deeply into the belly. And then exhale, bring that strap into the left hand or modify with the hands across the thigh, wherever you are at. And then slowly start to descend that left foot out towards the side of the room, towards the left side of the room. Again, a soft bend in that knee is perfectly fine if that feels more comfortable. Again, the body will want to roll over onto the left-hand side. And as it does, draw that core in firmly towards the spine as you bring that right palm to that right front hip point. Draw that right shoulder underneath you, pressing through the shoulder blades, through the floor, and then looking over that right shoulder, getting that length and that stretch for the hamstrings, the calves, keeping those left toes drawn back, keep lengthening through right heel, so you still feel that stretch through the right hip flexor. And we're going to hold for an extra breath here. See if you can keep that low back completely in contact with the floor. And then as we're ready, exhale, draw those tummy muscles back in towards the spine. Maybe put a soft bend through that knee. And we're going to come towards the opposite side now. So switch that strap into the right hand. Draw that left ankle across the body. Again, keep a bend in that knee if that feels better for the hip. Otherwise, start to use the weight of that foot. Lengthen through that left heel. Bring those left fingertips at shoulder height, palms facing up. Press through that left heel and draw those left toes back as you also stretch through those right toes. And again, modify how you want. This is a really deep stretch for the low back and into the glute muscles here. So go really carefully there. If it feels uncomfortable, put a bend back in the knee, soften through that knee, soften through the toes, and then you can always stretch through that heel again as you feel comfortable to do so. But essentially allowing gravity again to work its magic on this side. Just enjoying this delicious twist in the sideways for the spine. Softening those shoulders towards the floor. Relaxing, softening, closing the eyes. And then as you're ready on your next exhale, we're going to put a soft bend back in that left knee. Draw those tummy muscles in towards the spine. Start to bring that left foot back through center. Strap comes into both hands now. Lengthen through the shoulders, lengthen through the back. Press through both heels. And then gently lift that head and chest towards that foot as you pull the tummy in and pull up strongly on those pelvic floor muscles. And then we're going to hold for 3, 2, 1, and then exhale, softly release on down. Lower that left foot alongside right. We don't need the strap for a few moments, so we can leave that off to one side. Enjoy that sensation in the lower body, that sensation of openness, of stretch. Palms walk out to the side of the room, face them up, soften through the toes. Just enjoy that strong, stretchy sensation through the low back, into both legs and into the calves and hamstrings. Just enjoy that sensation. Take an extra breath here, and on your next inhale, We're going to walk those heels back in towards the body, shuffle that full length of the back onto the floor, and we're going to come into stirrup, as we would call it in yin yoga, or you can come into happy baby. So having the knees bent, we're going to reach for the outside edges of the feet, open those knees out towards the side, and draw those knees in towards the armpit as you soften those shoulders away from the ears. Press through the crown of the head and tuck that chin ever so slightly into the chest. And you can stay here in stirrup, drawing those knees in towards the armpits. Otherwise, you can make this a bit more of a dynamic movement and gently rock a little from side to side for happy baby. Okay, just enjoying that stretch. Another hip opener in a moment before we come to sitting. And from there, we'll come up to a higher level. Curl that tailbone towards the floor, really press that low back into the floor, press those shoulder blades into the floor. So firm those low back muscles, those muscles around the rib cage. Feel them squeeze and firm, draw the tummy in, pelvic floor up as you lengthen tailbone towards the mat. And then softly, if you're happy with this, we're going to cross that right knee over left knee, draw those feet across the body as we hug those knees in towards the chest. So press those toes back towards the body and draw the feet across as you draw those knees in towards the waist and belly and chest, okay? If that's uncomfortable, just practice crossing the legs and squeezing those knees in towards center, okay? Similar sensation there. Otherwise, for a deeper hip stretch, reaching for the outsides of the feet, knees are nicely stacked, press through the heels, draw those knees in, lengthen tailbone towards the floor, and feel that deep stretch into that right hip. So these are Gomukhasana legs, or cow face legs they call it. So just feeling that stretch in that right hip. But really resisting the hands with those feet. So pressing the feet into the hands as you draw those feet across the body and keep the thighs firming in towards the body. On your next inhale, we're going to open up the legs towards the side of the room, draw those toes back. And then exhale, we're going to go back the other way, either just cross at the shins and draw those hips in. Otherwise, stack that left knee over right knee, reach for outside edges of the feet. Stack those knees, draw those thighs in towards the chest, lengthen tailbone towards floor, and just feel that stretch in that left hip now, in the left glute muscles. Chin away from chest, length through the neck. And then on your next inhale, we're going to open those legs wide. Inhale, draw those knees in towards the chest and either roll onto your right hand side and come to a comfortable seat. Otherwise, you can rock and roll gently up and down the length of the spine. And then we're going to come to sitting for some shoulder work and for more twisting for that spine and for the waist, okay? So from here, we're going to come into the right heel in towards the body. We're going to tuck that left heel behind us. So we're making a sort of bowl for the bottom with the instep of that left foot. So draw that left heel behind you, right heel in towards the body, and see if you can sit stably through both sit points here, okay? And then for this position, we're going to reach those fingertips up high with arrow straight arms. So inhale and lengthen through the sides. Then as we exhale, we're going to twist over towards the right hand side and bring that left palm to the right knee. And if you can, we're going to sweep that right palm all the way around and see if you can reach for your left hip, or the shirt at your back, or your low sacrum, wherever you can, as we twist towards the right, drawing that tummy in, tailbone tucks under, right shoulder drops back, length through the spine, and then bring your chin back over towards the left shoulder and drop that left ear towards the left shoulder and get some stretch through the neck here, keeping that tummy nice and strong, enjoying this twist. And then gently exhale, we're going to unwind, reach those palms up for arrow straight arms. And then we're going to interlace those fingertips behind the head. And here we're going to take some cat-cow tilts in our sort of animal stretch hips pose. So from here we're going to inhale and open the chest. exhale, draw that tummy in, close those elbows around the ears. Inhale, lift and open. Exhale, rounding that spine. Twice more. Inhale, lift and lengthen. Really lengthen through the crown of the head. Exhale, rounding, draw tummy in. Inhale, opening. Exhale, come to a neutral spine. From here, we're going to switch the cross of the legs. So we're going to bring that left heel in. Right foot comes behind. Sit stably through the sit bones here. Then through arrow straight arms, we're going to come into a nice stretch towards the other side. So inhale, arms reach up. Exhale, we're going to take it into a twist towards the right hand side. Lower that right palm to the outside of left thigh, and if you can, sweep those left fingertips around and hook that right hip or reach for the shirt and draw it down as you draw those shoulders away from the ears. We're going to begin by tucking the tailbone, drawing tummy in, lengthening through the chest and the crown of the head and looking over left shoulder. Keep dropping that right shoulder away from the ears. And then exhale, bring that head round towards the right shoulder and then lower that right ear towards the right shoulder. And hold here, maybe soften down and close the eyes. And then inhale is come up. We're going to unwind, interlace those fingertips on an inhale behind the head. A few sitting cat-cow tilts here. So inhale, lift and lengthen. Exhale, rounding, drawing tummy in. Twice more. Inhale, lift and lengthen. Exhale, rounding. Last time. Inhale, lift and lengthen. And exhale, rounding down. Inhale is come up. Really nicely done. Okay, so from here, we're going to come into a toe squat. So you can squat on the heels here with the toes tucked under. Otherwise, you can come onto the tops of the feet if that's just a little bit too much for the ankles this evening. So tucking those toes under. And then we're going to take this into a nice side stretch. So I'm going to come and face you now so that you can see what we're doing. We're going to reach for the floor either side of that body. And if the fingertips don't reach, maybe then come on to the tops of the feet. Otherwise, prop your hands up on cushions or bricks either side of you. From here, we're going to earth those fingers down through the ground. Then we're going to inhale and reach those arms up through arrow straight arms. As we exhale, we're going to bring that right palm towards the floor alongside the right hip and lengthen through those left fingertips as if to draw that left hip off the heels, but keeping length through the fingers, but keeping that hip point grounding down through the floor as we lengthen through those left fingertips towards the sky. Keep the tummy pulled in. And then exhale, we're going to bring those right fingertips alongside left. We're going to lengthen as we inhale. Then exhale, soften those left fingertips towards the floor, lengthen through right fingertips towards the left side of the room, as if to pull yourself off those heels. So drawing that tummy in, lengthen through the side waist. Inhale. And you'll feel a nice little stretch in the side here as well. And then exhale, bringing those palms to top, arrow straight arms. And then from here, we're going to take this into a nice little shoulder stretch. So still on the tops of the feet or the toes tucking under. From here, we're going to bring that right palm between the shoulder blades and tap between those shoulder blades. And if we can, we're going to reach those left fingertips up and over, tuck the tailbone, draw that tummy in, and draw that right tricep towards the front of the room, hugging in towards the side of the head as you pull those fingertips down gently between the shoulder blades and lengthen through the crown of the head. Lengthen through the side waist here as well as you squat on the toes, otherwise you'll be on the tops of the feet, keeping that tailbone tucking under. Exhale, softly release. Inhale, reaching up. Same thing, other side. So we're going to reach those left fingertips between those shoulder blades, palm faces in, reach those right fingertips over top of left elbow. Draw that tricep alongside the body, tuck that tailbone, draw tummy in, just turn sideways. And lengthen through that side waist as the crown of the head reaches up, as you get a nice little stretch going through the shoulders, stretching through those triceps as we lengthen towards the sky. Good. And exhale, softly release on down. Inhale, interlace those fingertips at the low tailbone, draw them down past the tailbone, press that heart forwards, expand that heart, draw the shoulder blades in towards the centre, draw that tummy in as well. There's a temptation to overarch the spine here, so keep tucking the tailbone, drawing that tummy in as you lengthen towards the sky. And then from here, we're going to soften towards the floor for seal pose, okay? But we'll modify if we need to, depending on how happy the back is feeling. So from here, we're going to come towards the back of the mat. We're going to walk those fingertips forwards and lower through the gates of the arms onto the belly. Now you can practice here, lengthening through the feet, bringing those legs alongside one another, tucking that tailbone towards the heels. And you can practice in baby cobra if you'd like to, hugging those elbows in, drawing those shoulders away from the ears, and just lifting and lengthening through the heart, maybe lifting and lowering a few times, moving with the breath. Otherwise, you can take a more a posture that's more still, an asana that's more still, and come into seal. The purpose of this is to stretch and open the upper back. So for seal pose, we can walk those fingertips wide, fingertips pressed down, flatten through the palms of the hands, and then gently press through those palms as you draw those shoulders away from the ears and lengthen through the crown of the head, keeping that tailbone tucking under and broadening through those fingertips and opening and pressing that heart forwards. Okay, so coming into our seal pose here. Otherwise, you'll be practicing cobra by inhaling, peeling up, exhaling, dropping down 2 or 3 times, and then resting in your belly shavasana. Otherwise, we're in seal. Fingertips walking out towards the side of the mat. Draw those shoulders down, elbows draw in towards the front of the room. Tuck the tailbone, press that heart forwards, and just feel all of those back muscles stretching and strengthening. And we're going to hold for a breath or 2 more if that's okay, otherwise rest if you need to. And then softly exhale, lower down into your belly shavasana, and then maybe just bring those fingertips interlace at the back of the head to rest down, just withdrawing those centers momentarily, elbows hug in towards the floor, and just going into a little bit of a state of pratyahara or withdrawal for a breath or 2 before we start to come up to a higher level. As you're ready, inhale and softly come up, press through broad palms either sides of the low ribs, tuck those toes, and we're going to come into a beautiful child's pose for a little bit more of a deep stretch for the sides before we come up a little higher. So from here, sink those hips towards the heels, knees can be together or apart, lengthen through those fingertips, and lower that forehead between the forearms and really curl that tailbone towards the heels. You might want to pop a blanket either under the knees or underneath the bottom, sneaking them right up against the backs of the knees to be comfortable here. But rest that forehead down, lengthen through the fingers. And either stay here or you can start to walk those fingertips over towards the side on the right hand side of the mat, stacking left fingers on top of right and bringing the forehead between those forearms and the shoulders to parallel. So feel free to stay in your extended child's if that feels nice, on the knees, on the low back. Otherwise you can take it into a side stretch off towards the right as you sink those hips towards the heels and maybe even shift those hips off towards the left a little for a deeper side stretch. So go with what feels right for you tonight. It might be that extended child's pose is enough and the sides already feel beautifully stretched. And then feel free to stay there. Otherwise, we're going to inhale and walk those palms over towards the left. Shift those hips over towards the right. Right palm stacks on top of left. Interlace those fingertips. Soften those finger pads towards the floor. Forehead drops between the forearms. Bring those shoulders into balance, into one line with one another as we sink that forehead between the arms and hold here. Good, and then inhale is softly come up. We're going to come back through center. We're going to tuck those toes. And then we're going to sit on the heels. And we're going to practice a couple of rounds of moon salutations here. So we're going to start to bring it up to a higher level before we open up the hips some more, hamstrings some more, and then get into some more stretches for the lower body. So really going to feel nice and limber in the lower body today. So tucking those toes under, otherwise we're going to come onto the tops of the feet and sink those hips towards the heels, knees together in hero. I'll show you one round and then we can practice all together. This is quite a nice dynamic movement with breath, and you'll join me in just a moment after this demonstration. So as we're ready. Okay, so a little back bend in there, a little bit of a hamstring hip stretch. Off we go. So sitting back on the heels, knees together, hero, palms rest at the thighs, draw those shoulders over those hips, heart presses forwards. Take an inhale and either interlace the thumbs or just bring the palms up, facing away from the body as you lengthen through the back, through the sides, keep that tailbone tucking. And then exhale, lengthen through fingers, through extended child's. Bring those shoulders through the arms, hug those elbows in, knees, chest and chin comes towards the floor. Inhale, sliding forwards onto the belly, lengthen through the tops of the feet. Inhale, lift and lengthen, tailbone tucks, length through the crown of the head. Exhale, tuck those toes. We're going to pull back into extended child's, and from here we're going to inhale and step between the palms of the hands, that left foot, and you can do that in stages, it doesn't have to be in one go. Bringing that left knee over left ankle and sinking into those hips, spreading through those toes, reach that heart forwards, saluting the moon here, so some lunar salutations. Then exhale, we're going to plant those palms, sweep that left foot back, hips towards heels, exhale, forehead between the arms, and then inhale, reaching palms high, interlace the thumbs if you'd like for a little bit more, draw those shoulders away from the ears, and exhale, soften down. Okay, we're going to practice that same thing on the other side. So these are a beautiful dynamic sequence that we can practice to soothe us before bedtime. And it's a nice gentle wake up as well. As we're ready, inhale, sweep those palms high. Exhale, lengthen those fingertips away. As we're ready, we're going to inhale, knees, chest and chin towards the floor, elbows hugging in towards center. Sliding forwards onto the belly, baby cobra, press through the feet, tailbone tucks, lift and lengthen. Exhale, tuck those toes, hips towards heels, reversing back the way we came. Forehead between the arms. Keep those toes tucked. And then inhale, step that right foot forwards. Press that heart forwards, right knee over right ankle, come onto the top of that back foot. Roll those shoulders away, feel that stretch and length through the hips. Exhale, plant those palms, stepping back, hips towards heels, exhale. Belly towards thighs. Inhale, draw that tailbone under, draw the tummy in, lift and lengthen. And exhale, palms to press in front of the heart, releasing palms to the thighs. Last round on each side, so as we're ready, inhale, sweep those palms high. Exhale, lengthening away through extended child's, then bring those shoulders through the arms, hug those elbows, chin, chest, knees, sliding forwards to the belly, coming onto the tops of the feet, hug those elbows, roll the shoulders away, inhale, lift and lengthen. Exhale, tuck those toes, reversing back the way we came, hips towards heels. Inhale, stepping that left foot between the palms of the hands, sinking those hips forwards. Left knee over left ankle, lengthen. Exhale, plant those palms, sweeping that left foot back, hips towards heels. Exhale, belly to thighs. Inhale, palms reach away, interlace those thumbs for a little bit more. Little gentle back stretch here, inhale. Exhale, palms to press, release those palms to the thighs for hero. Good, last time, right side this time. Inhale, sweep those palms. Exhale, lengthen away, hips start to come off the heels, press through broad fingertips. Bring those shoulders through knees, chest and chin, hug those elbows. Inhale, sliding forwards, keep your body low to the ground, come onto the tops of the feet, tuck the tailbone, lengthen on an inhale. Exhale, tuck those toes, reversing back the way we came. Hips towards heels. Tummy towards thighs. Inhale, step that right foot forwards, right knee over right ankle. Press that heart forwards. Inhale, coming onto top of left foot. Exhale, plant those palms, sweeping those feet alongside one another. Hips towards heels, belly to thighs, forehead rest. Inhale, tuck tailbone, draw tummy in, reaching those palms high. Salute the moon. Exhale, palms to touch. Release the palms to the thighs. Good, really nicely done. So we're going to come from here into Malasana squat. So we're going to tuck those toes and walk those feet wide. And remember, this one can be practiced on your sofa with the knees and toes tracking and the palms pressing and the thighs being prized apart as you lengthen through the crown of the head. Otherwise, we're going to come into our yogic squat. Then the heels can be quite far apart or close together, depending on what works for you, as long as the toes and the knees are facing the same direction. Then we're going to press those palms to touch, press that heart forward, lengthen the shoulders away from the ears, and open up those thighs as we tuck the tailbone. Again, maybe step those feet apart for a little bit more of a sinking sensation through that tailbone. And the heels can be up or down, whichever feels comfortable as we lengthen through the heart. So pressing through the feet, spreading out through all four corners. It doesn't matter if the feet aren't completely flat against the floor, but concentrate on bringing length to the spine, strength to the shoulders, and easing into those hips as we turn those toes open towards the side. Maybe close the eyes for a breath here and bring that awareness into your root. So your area of your sacrum, your tailbone, your root chakra. So this is where we get grounded, where we feel centered and earthed. This is the seat of security, safety. So feeling secure, safe and grounded through your seat. And then from here we're going to exhale, release those palms towards the floor. We're going to heel toe those feet so the toes now come in and the heels come apart, and either keep the knees bent with the heart pressing forwards, otherwise you can start to stretch through those heels and through the backs of the knees as you start to look towards the knees and lengthen the crown of the head towards the floor. Maybe shuffle a little bit into the heels until you feel comfortable here. And then if you'd like to stay with the fingertips resting, you can. If you want to keep a soft bend in the knees, you can. You can either reach for a wrap behind the knees if you prefer to. Otherwise, you can hook opposite elbows, lengthen forehead towards the forearms, and dangle here. And again, always imagining this tether between the belly and the thighs. So think belly towards thighs rather than head towards toes or head towards knees. And you won't go far wrong on the low back in that case. So dangling here. Maybe rock a little from side to side. And then from here we're going to bring those palms to the shins, lift that heart, draw the shoulders away, lengthen through the crown of the head, press through those heels, backs of the knees, deep inhale, then exhale, flat back, send those palms out in front of you. As you press through the feet, keep the back nice and flat, and then softly, softly put a bend in those knees as you come all the way up to standing. Inhale, lift and lengthen through the fingers. Really see if you can get a nice little back stretch going here. So press those hip points forward, tuck the tailbone, tummy draws in, lengthen through those fingers towards the back of the room, and then exhale, bring those palms to touch in front of the heart. Really nicely done. Okay, so from here we're going to come towards the front of our mat, and then we're going to step back into a nice lizard lunge. And again, another one for the hips here. And then there's the option to get into a little quad stretch if you'd like to. So from the front of our mat into Tadasana, we're going to sweep those arms out towards the side of the room and lengthen through the fingertips. Palms are facing. Press through those heels. Then exhale, we're going to bring those palms in front of the heart and see if we can step back with that left foot, coming into a low lunge to begin with. So lower onto that left knee, and again, pad up that left knee if you need to on a blanket. That right knee comes over right ankle. Then from here, we're going to heel toe that right foot out towards the right side of the mat, sinking forwards with those hips. Lower those fingertips towards the floor inside that right foot, and then roll onto the outside of that right foot as we press that heart forwards into a low lizard lunge. So soften through those back toes, resting on the top of the foot. look over towards the right and maybe bring that right palm to the inside of the right thigh and press that foot away. So there's the option here to stay in your low lizard lunge. Otherwise you might want to kick up for a little bit extra. Kick up that back foot, supporting the weight with that right palm on the inside of the foot and twisting over towards the left rather than the right. So take your preference here, your option, wherever you're feeling comfortable. Broaden across those shoulders if you're taking this option, and you can roll onto the outside of that right foot or flatten through the sole of the foot as you sink those hips forwards. So modify however you feel. Otherwise you are here towards the right, pressing that thigh away, dropping that right shoulder. Otherwise, lift that back heel, bring that right palm to the inside of the foot, and just lengthen through the crown of the head, getting into the quads on the left-hand side here. Good. And then as we're ready, either unwind or release that foot. We're going to heel toe that foot back in towards center, and we're going to come into pyramid from here. So bring that right palm to the outside of right foot, tuck those back toes, walk that left foot in a little, start to straighten through both feet, bring that right hip back, left hip forwards, and either bring those palms to the heart, or you can reach for opposite elbows. Otherwise you can come all the way up and take reverse press. I'll just show you from behind. So from your pyramid, you'll draw that right hip back, left hip forward, all the toes face forwards. Pyramid pose, you sweep those palms, palms to press, walk those fingertips up between the shoulder blades, drop those shoulders, drop those elbows, squeeze those thighs in, then lengthen through the crown of the head towards the front of the room. Okay, so take what option you fancy. So either reverse prayer at the back here, lengthening through the crown of the head. Otherwise reach for opposite elbows, hands to the heart, or maybe even you're dropping the fingertips towards the floor and walking them a little bit further back. So that's lots of options, I appreciate, but I just want you to feel that lovely stretch through the hamstrings in the right foot, so right leg and left leg. Squeeze those thighs in as if you're pressing a giant beach ball between the thighs. So squeezing those hips in towards center with all the toes facing forwards. Taking whichever option feels comfortable for you. Good, and lengthen away through the crown of the head. If you're in prayer pose, keep those shoulders rolling down, elbows out towards the side, crown of the head, lengthening away. And then as we're ready, we're going to inhale, put a bend in that right knee. Release those fingertips wherever they are, bring them to the hips. And then we're going to heel toe those feet so the toes are now facing the top corners of the mat. The knees will be tracking in line with those toes. And we're going to bring those hands towards the hips. And from here, we're going to take Prasarita Padottanasana A. Bring those hands towards those hips, press that heart forward, lengthen through the crown of the head. And then exhale, send those hips back. Start to lengthen that heart towards the floor. Squeeze those elbows in and stretch through those hamstrings as you lower that crown of the head towards the floor. Resting here, going careful on that blood pressure. With that head below the heart, we're inverting here, so start to trigger that parasympathetic nervous system, which sends us signals that it's time to calm down. And then as we're ready, we're going to inhale, bend at those knees, keep those hands at the hips, and then come all the way back up to standing. So from here, you can either walk the feet in or hop the feet in, bring those palms together, elbows together, and then we're going to come to the front of our mat and practice that same thing on the other side. So from here, we're going to inhale, sweep those palms high. Exhale, bring the palms in front of the heart, and we're going to step that right foot back this time and come into a low lunge, resting on that right knee, sinking that left knee over left ankle, and that heart comes forward. From here, we're going to open up, so heel to that left foot out towards the left side. Bring that right palm to the floor inside that left foot, rolling onto the outside of that left foot. Bring that left palm to the inside of the thigh, drop the shoulders. Otherwise, there's the option here to kick up that back foot, reach across the body or the same side of the body and get into that quad stretch. So take your option, closed twist, open twist, keep the tailbone tucking under, drawing those shoulders to parallel, taking your option and enjoying that sensation across the quads, the hip flexors, into those hips, wherever you're at. It's perfectly fine, complete acceptance. And then as we're ready, we're going to either release that foot or unwind. We're going to tuck those toes, those back toes under, heel toe that left foot back in through center. Shorten that stance and come into pyramid on the other side. So walk the toes in, all the toes facing forwards. Left hip back, right hip forward, hands to heart. Opposite elbows or reverse prayer on this side. Inhale, lift and lengthen perhaps to squeeze those sides into alignment. And then exhale, lengthen back through the heart, through the crown of the head as you press through the big toe mound of that front foot, the outside edge of the back foot, lengthen towards the floor and hold. Hold, hold, hold. Keep squeezing those thighs in towards center. Spreading through those toes, shoulders roll down. And then inhale, put a bend back in that front knee. And we're going to turn into Prasarita on the other side, but this time we're going to open up the shoulders. So I'm just going to turn my back briefly, but we're going to turn those toes towards the top corners of the mat. Interlace those fingertips at the low back as we press that heart forwards. Just going to turn around and face you. Draw those palms down past the tailbone, press that heart forwards, lengthen through the crown of the head. Then exhale softly, softly. Start to hinge into those hips, draw that tummy in. Exhale, lengthening the crown towards the floor, fingertips up and overhead. Squeeze those shoulders and roll them in towards center, creating space for the neck. As we take a breath or two here. Breath long and smooth. And then as we're ready, inhale, put a bend back in those knees, bring those hands to the hips, press that heart forwards, press through the outside edges of the feet. Inhale, lift and lengthen, we're going to drop those fingers towards the floor, heel toe those feet, back in towards center, and we're going to come to sitting, back down. Okay, beautiful. So here is where you get to use your strap again, if you'd like to, for a little bit of hamstring stretch and a little bit of core work. Otherwise, you don't need the strap. You can just reach for the feet or the calves or the thighs, wherever you can reach. But we're going to come into Dandasana to begin with. Have your strap handy if you'd like to practice with that. Draw those toes back, press the backs of the knees towards the floor. Untuck that flesh from underneath the sit bones, shoulders over those hips. And then from here, we can either reach for our strap or just start to bring that right knee in towards the body and reach for the outside edges of the feet. From here, we're going to wrap that strap around the ball of the foot, or otherwise reach for those feet and start to press through the ball of the foot. Drop that heel towards the floor, drop the backs of the knees towards the floor, shoulders rest down. Keep those left toes drawn in towards the body. And then we're going to come into an open twist by bringing that strap into the right hand. Otherwise, you can reach the first two fingers around that big toe mound. Put a bend in that right knee and start to open towards the side as you roll that right shoulder down and lengthen through left fingertips out towards the side of the room. If you do have a strap, or if you have the mobility in the hips and that length through the hamstrings, you can open up that leg and lengthen through that heel if you prefer to. So knee can be bent, drawing in towards the armpits, or leg extended, opening over towards the left-hand side. With or without your straps, see what feels good. Inhale, lift and lengthen. Keep that tummy nice and strong, sit that spine nice and straight. And then exhale, see if you can bring that right foot back through center. Drop that right shoulder and then exhale, lower that heel towards the floor. And then we're going to set up for that same thing on the other side. So either put a bend in that knee and wrap that strap around the ball of the foot. Otherwise, reach for the outside edges. Start to lengthen through that heel. Kuchinasana, this one is called. Lengthen through that heel. And then if you'd like to, for a little bit more, you can start to either put a bend in that knee and open that hip towards the left. Bring those right fingertips out towards the side. Otherwise, you can lengthen through that left heel. Sit nice and tall through the spine. Press through that right heel, toes drawn back. Lengthen through those hamstrings. Good. Going to hold here for 5, 4. Keep that breath long and smooth. 3, 2, 1, and exhale. Draw those toe muscles back in towards center. Sit nice and tall here. Lengthen that heart towards the front of the room. Inhale, and then exhale. See if you can lower with control that left heel towards the floor. Really nicely done. Give those toes a wiggle. And then from here we're going to come into Paschimottanasana, a nice heart opener, and then I'll let you rest. Okay, so from here, sitting in Dandasana in staff pose, again untucking that flesh, sit through the sit bones, press through the palms, lengthen through the crown of the head. Deep inhale, sweep those arms up, arrow straight, length through the sides, and then exhale, send that heart forwards, hinging from the hips, think tummy towards thighs, lengthen through those fingertips. Again, this is where you can use your strap for some additional length and help here. Press through those heels, knees are either bent or straight or somewhere in between. Press that heart forwards, keep that back as flat as you can, and start to lengthen towards those toes or belly towards thighs. Lengthen through the heart, keep those shoulders resting down, and reach. Gently does it, so melt into any points of tension, being with those sensations without fighting them. Sinking in, and maybe inhale you can lengthen, exhale, get a little deeper. But the moment you feel this uncomfortably on the low back, back away a little, come a little bit more upright. And you can always sink back in, soften that heart forwards. As you melt towards the thighs, towards the toes. And then as we're ready, inhale to softly come up. From here, you can either bring the soles of the feet together and come into fish pose this way with the arms underneath the body. Fingertips and palms are pressing against one another as you press that heart forwards. So you tuck those palms underneath the buttocks, walk them in. Soles of the feet together, knees fall open at the side. And you can press that heart up towards the sky, coming onto the crown of the head. Otherwise, same thing with the arms, but you can go through extended feet. The same thing, keep tucking that tailbone towards the heels, press through the forearms, lift that heart and lower the crown of the head towards the floor. Matsyendrasana or fish pose. Pressing through the forearms, always in control of how much weight's on the crown of the head. Go carefully on the throat here, keep that throat nice and open. Breathing deeply into that chest. Opening up those spinal channels. Getting a little bit of kundalini flow. Open heart energy. Acceptance, receptivity. Opening ourselves up with compassion, giving and receiving. Press through the forearms on your next inhale. Exhale, tuck the chin. And then softly lower on towards the floor. Walk those feet in, release those palms out from underneath you. Hug those knees in towards the chest. And then get yourselves ready for a spot of passive relaxation for the end of your practice. So I'm going to dim the lights my end. Get yourselves really comfortable in your Shavasana, your final rest, and I will talk you through the pose. Grab yourself a drink if you haven't had the opportunity or haven't thought of it, but quite fancy one. Then get yourselves nice and comfortable, ready for your rest. Rest on down. So whether your knees are bent or legs are extended, feet as wide as the mat, allow the toes to soften. Walk the palms out towards the side of the room, face them up. Lengthen through the back of the head by tucking that chin to create space for the neck. Soften the whole body from the crown of the head to the tips of the toes, checking in that the spine is straight but not stiff, that you're not twisted or uncomfortable. And then just allow all tension to start to leave the body on the breath and with the breath. This is your time. Your time to sink into a relaxed state of constructive rest. Total relaxation and stillness. Close the eyes or soften the gaze. And then just allow yourself to consider this idea that the answers that we seek never come when the mind is too busy. They come when the mind is still. So consciously trying to allow those thoughts to pass without getting drawn into those stories. Allowing the mind to become quiet, the body to become quiet. Find your stillness. Resting comfortably. Taking a long, slow, deep breath in. Holding that breath for a moment. And then exhaling slowly. Allowing any tension to melt away. As you gradually relax into that breath. Allowing that stillness to emerge from the busyness of the day. And then another long, slow, deep breath in. Taking your time. Holding that breath for a moment. And then allowing the breath to leave, to go. And feel yourself starting to sink and drift a little deeper into relaxation. Already much quieter in the body, in the mind. Already relaxed, yet aware. And then as you continue with the slow and the quiet breath, gently bringing your awareness to the crown of your head. Imagine that feeling of relaxation beginning to trickle down from the scalp to the muscles in the forehead, the temples, the eye muscles relaxed, cheeks and jaw soften. Letting go of all tension. This peaceful feeling continuing like a sensation of warm caramel trickling down the body, flowing into the neck, loosening the muscles there, deeply working into the shoulders, your arms, forearms, hands, each of your fingers. Body relaxed, mind relaxed, thoughts become weightless, slipping further into stillness. Your chest, your stomach melt, gently rising and fall. With the breath, this peaceful feeling traveling through to every muscle, every large muscle in the chest, the stomach, every organ. The ribs relaxed, The space between the ribs relaxes. Spine unwinds. Back relaxed. Loose and still. Hips relaxed. Lower body begins to relax. Relaxing the buttocks, the thighs, fronts of the thighs, backs of the kneecaps, feel them soften, release, letting go of any tensions here. Your shins relax towards the floor, your calves soften, your ankles. Just imagine that soothing sensation in your ankles. Feel them relax. The tops of the feet, the soles of the feet. Your entire lower body relaxed. Allowing any remaining knots, any remaining tensions to flow out, to melt, to dissolve through the toes. The tips of the toes, completely comfortable, peaceful and relaxed. Quite simply, in this moment, being in perfect alignment, in absolute harmony, in complete sync with existence as creation intends. And then taking a moment to revisit your own intention for your practice with the quiet body, the quiet mind. Allow your awareness to fill with your intention. Allow it to fill each and every molecule and cell in the body, the mind, the energetic body, to completely surround and fill your entire being with your glorious, positive intention. And then, as you are ready, begin to lengthen and deepen the breath. Inhales, exhales, breathing deeply the way we want to live. And then as you're ready, start to prepare the body to make some movements. Fingers, toes, wrists, ankles, joints. Perhaps rolling your head softly from side to side, a slow awakening for the neck. Maybe yawning and stretching, getting that final stretch in. Creating space in the sideways between the ribs, in the pelvis, the hips, the ankles, and then gently start to bring those knees in towards the chest. Give yourself a hug. And then rolling onto your right hand side for one beautiful extra moment of stillness. And then press yourself back up to a comfortable seat, facing this way with the palms in front of the heart, bow the head, sealing in the benefits of our glorious evening glow stretch practice for flexibility. And then palms to press in front of the forehead for loving and flexible thoughts. And then palms to press in front of the heart for loving and adaptable, ever-changing, evolving, accepting intentions. And then palms in front of the lips for flexible, fluid communications. Thank you so much for your beautiful practice. Lots of love to each and every one of you. Cannot wait to see you all again very, very soon. Summer Saturday, I hope. Have a wonderful rest of your evening and sweet, sweet dreams. Namaste. you.